This your boy HD. Everybody get up on the dance floor and go and go and go crazy. And go crazy. And go crazy. And go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the old to LA. Go crazy like a dum-dum. Eastside homeboy, where I come from. Dance on the floor till you go numb. No fighting, no hating, no red rum. This is OOO City. All the way to the bay, hit the bass, feel me. Catch a case, cause it's beating up your Chevy. Get you moving side to side, getting all sweaty. Make it work it, work it, work it out. Turn the volume up loud. It's a draw crowd, make it all shout. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Hit play on the track and I'm ready. Like a quarterback, Tom Brady. Catch it all in the frenzy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. The love us. We heard the buzz and turned the club up. They tear the words up soon as we turn the subs up. Everybody hands high like a drug bust. Yeah, I'm from the West, homie. Don't you see the dubs up? Baptize him on the spot, fill the tubs up. I fraternize with the flock, tell him fill the cups up. The show though, original, the type is proto. I go, crazy, crazy, yeah, loco and solo. The coach, you know I represent the Ocho. Immersing the ghetto, put the devil in the choco. Either I leave him on the mat flat out, I squeeze the telly black out, or when they see him tap out, they go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA.
Boy, it feels so good to hear that song one more again. It feels so good. What's going on, family? Happy New Year and all of that good stuff. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. How your mama them, how your people them, how everybody doing?
Children. Yeah.
Right. How are the children? Come on in here, y'all. We have missed you. We are back. It is officially 8:04, and it is time for the first scoop show of 2023. I was this close to 2020. Where's 2023? We are here, okay? And we are so glad that you have found your way back to us this year. We hope everyone is well. We hope everyone is rested. We hope everyone is knocking the dust off of our holiday feats and getting back in the grind of that work week. I know everyone is probably officially back from vacation on this week, because I know quite a few folks at my job, I was still getting that good old out of office on last week. So that's a very blessed life. So if that's you and you are back to work officially this week, welcome. And we are glad to start your week right here with the scoop. All right. Yes. What else? Oh, I'm like, see, I told you I was going to do this. So for those of you who are new, who may have caught up and, been listening to the recaps over the holiday, and you are new here, we have many ways for you to tune in and catch us week to week. We do this thing we out here. All right. We have many ways for you to watch the replays, many ways for you to get in tune with us on week to week. And we want to invite you to join the fam. All right. So lock in with us on all of the social media channels. We are out here on we are out here on,
I said, you waiting on me. I'm steady tagging.
no, I am. It's okay. I was gonna slide on over to the. I don't have my mouse today, so I'm tapping. I do appreciate you tapping back in with me, though. All right, so we do invite you to follow us on all of our social media channels. We are out here on YouTube by following us at The Scoop Show, Facebook at Real Scoop Show, Instagram at The Scoop Radio Show, and on SoundCloud at The Scoop Show. We understand that you get out here, you're at the gym, you're in the car on your way to work, all that good stuff, and you don't always get a chance to tap in and look at me and Wynn's beautiful brown skin on the regular for the full time. We get that. So you can tap in with us on SoundCloud. Go ahead and listen in and get your feel of the scope. All right. And today's show is going to possibly feel a little bit like a rewind, and that's okay because we've been gone and a lot of us kind of tune out for the holidays, but we do like to kind of keep it current. All right. Me too. Okay. Y'all should have seen us looking for what happened? What happened over the last?
Ooh, I ain't know all that.
And it's hard to go back, like as fast as social media moves and the world moves these days. Like, it was hard to find something that happened last week, let alone like 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. But I think we pulled enough together to make a really, really good show. But generally, when we are in real time, all right, we are locked in here into these internet streets with our crew, which is you, all right, and we do that, all right, by this thing that we like to call straight out of the inbox. All right. We love this thing here because that's the one you forgot about. Well, I'm glad I remembered what it was then because that was my waiting on the but anyway, we have this thing we like to call straight out of the inbox, and it resembles the straight out of the Compton branding if you just really want to know what we're talking about. But then whenever you see the hashtag straight out of the inbox or that nice little graphic that we like to pop up, that means that comment, that conversation has come directly from you all. All right. That means you have been scrolling out here in these internets and you see a conversation that you know is going to tickle our conversation fancy. And it is something we need to be talking about here on The Scoop. So if we share it or if you tag us to it and you see us hit that's hashtag straight out of the inbox and you see that out here, that is your cue to tap in and tell us what your thoughts are. And if we get enough of those thoughts, they will make it to the hot topics. All right. And we will talk about it right here on the show. Okay. So make sure that you are tuned in not only to us, but out here in these streets so that we can keep this show nice and current, nice and spicy, nice and get, hey, there we go. Quick fingers into 2023. I love it. That's the graphic. If you see that attached to any of our comments, our posts, our conversations, that is your cue to tap in. That one is for you. All right. Straight out of the inbox. All right. What else?
You good?
Oh, hey.
You Gucci.
And you are frozen. Just, I don't know if you know that, but you are frozen.
Can you hear me though?
I can.
Okay. I'll catch up in a second.
Okay. How are you, bro?
I'm tired. Long day, but I'm good. Like this is what we do and this is what we love. So yeah, I'm in it to win it. I'm actually glad to be back. Like I was like, okay, it's been long. We're always like super tired towards the end of the year, but then it's like after a couple of weeks, I'm like, okay, I'm not tired anymore. Then it's like, no, I need a break. But then I'm like, but I want to get back. So yeah, I'm glad to be back. Let me say that.
It was absolutely time. It's time. Yeah. We have a lot, we
took a longer break too. So
we did. And I think it was necessary, but it was also very much time to get back.
Yep.
I don't know what's going on.
Huh? Are you still frozen?
Yeah, and then I don't know if our scoop is in real time too. This has been I'm glad that I still share that one instead of your live, because sometimes I don't know if we know that the broadcast is acting crazy if we didn't tap in over there. There you are. Hey.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see.
All right. I think we just caught up on the thing too, because yeah. Okay. Hey y'all.
Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But yeah, it was time to come back. It was I missed our chats. I missed the people.
Mm-hmm.
I got good rest and recharged, rejuvenated, and all those things. Now it's time to get back in here.
Cool. All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm. Let's do it.
You ready? Hold on, let me see where am I. When I refreshed it, messed something up. Okay, here we go. Where is my? All right, so like you said, tonight might be a little different because we trying to catch up to what we missed. So some of these topics have been around for a little bit, but we still need to talk about them. We want to talk about them with you. So of course, as always, make sure you hit that share button and drop your comments. So we can talk about this with you. So this first one should be no surprise to this first one. This actually is a recent one, but news broke today actually.
I started seeing it today. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that singer songwriter Mariah Carey is actually fighting for custody of the twins that she has. She wants to be primary custodian of the twins that she has with young Nicholas Cannon, citing that basically he's not spending any time with the children. He's not spending much time with them, and so she's taking him back to court for custody. And so let's talk about it. What's up, Stillwater? So she's taking him to for custody, and I think he just had number
12.
11 or 12. 12. Number 12. So
they're coming in twos. So yeah, I think 11 and 12 at one time.
So it's like 6 different.
Yeah, I believe it's 6 different women.
So 12 by 6. So that's a lot of kids. Plus, he's got.
And then one has passed. So
yeah. Okay, and he's got Wild 'N Out. He's got several other businesses.
Masked Singer and
Masked Singer. Is he doing America's Got Talent too? Or is he not doing that? He's doing a lot.
I think another person is doing America's Got Talent right now. I don't know. Yeah,
he's got a lot.
He's got a lot going on. Yeah, and he has, the ongoing battle with lupus. So
right. So yeah. So what are your thoughts?
I was absolutely not shocked by this. And if y'all have been watching us for a while, you knew that. But just some details here. The kids, Moroccan, and is it Milan and Morocco? I think that's the baby's names. But the twins with Mariah are majority of the time they're with her anyway. I did read in one of the articles that they do spend the majority of their time with her. She is more or less, and she's more or less making this permanent, getting the paperwork in order. But because it's getting to the degree that it's getting, and she wants to be able to rein it in, she's not able to make. She still does have to fully consult him for some of the decisions, and there's a difference in not having those distinctions made legally, and that is what she is doing now. But she is I think she's sick of his ish, and yeah, it's a lot, and she's just wanting to be able to.
So is he saying, is she saying, because I didn't read the full article, but I know she said he's not spending a lot of times. Did it say anywhere in there that they have some kind of agreement, custody agreement, and he's not?
In the article that I shared with you, it didn't go into detail of their current custody agreement. It just indicated that it is somewhat shared, which is why she is going for primary custody of them. So they have some type of agreement or arrangement. I don't know if it's that he has some type of say in so much of what they do, and because of the way that it's set up, and she's trying to be like, look, just let me do this. I ain't trying to keep you from him, but it ain't like you fighting me for him that much either. You know what I mean? So let's just get this clear and understood.
Custody. So I mean, you know this obviously, but custody and parenting time are different.
Yes.
So you can have joint custody, but she be the primary parent and have the most time. So if she's fighting for custody, she's primary custody. She's saying she no longer wants joint, or I don't think he has primary custody. So
no, they have some type of joint custody arrangement. Yeah. So and her being the primary custodial parent means she has full.
She has more time.
More time for sure, but she also doesn't have to really do a whole lot of consultation about other things. Doesn't have to. And of course that always gets detailed as far as their legal things and stuff like that. But the primary custody meaning they live with her primarily. She's responsible for
the day-to-day functioning most of the time. Yeah, absolutely. Whew, young Nicholas.
No, I'm not at all surprised. And I think it was funny that I saw an article. This was honestly before we went to break. And of course, it got no traction because we like talking about how much money he has and how set these 59,000 children should be, regardless of how much time he gets to spend with them. But Nick has said that
you don't spend the time
he has trouble spending enough time with all of these children. He feels guilty about that. And that he used when he was sick and was going through all of the stuff when he was at his sickest and was going through the stuff that he was going through with the networks and all of that. He was using sex to deal with his feelings with that. He was using sex as therapy. So all of this, the ways that we've created this legacy conversation or however he spun it after the fact, there have been him quoted saying that these things that he's doing are somewhat a result of him trying to comfort and deal with himself and all this other stuff that he's gone through. And it was so interesting to me, like that wasn't nearly as shared and discussed, that he was clear about that he does have guilt about it. He does, have feelings about it, and it's not just as footloose and fancy free and he out here making babies and if everything's all Gucci and it's easy for him because he's this $1 million man. Like that's not the situation. And now we're starting to see the ramifications of that. There's been some of the other mothers who have been trending off and on for saying that this is maybe not what they thought it was supposed to be. You know what I mean? This might not have been.
I haven't seen that.
Well, I mean, it's just that it's a struggle. You know what I mean? It was something that they thought was going to. I'm assuming the way that they're talking about it, it's just not as easy as they thought it was going to be. And then there was one woman who was like defending it, but like whining about it at the same time. So it was like, what? Like, it's a lot. It's a lot going on with that. But this particular situation, no.
Yeah.
Being the original, the first, and being who she is. She's probably trying to get as far, far away from all of this madness.
Was she the first one he had kids with?
Mariah Carey?
Yeah.
Yes. She is the original. She is his first wife, the first woman to give him children. Yes.
That's a lot of kids.
A lot of children.
Ooh. Yes. Nick, just get the surgery, man. Get the surgery. Ooh. All right. They have this thing where they could, they can fix you and you can still medicate yourself and not make baby. I'm not suggesting you should do that.
Yeah, I understand. But the alternative is not looking good. It ain't looking good for the babies. Like
no. I mean, it's hard to spend that much time with that many children. So yeah. I mean, yeah, KG, you're right. He's I don't know how much he paying, but again, that still doesn't speak to the time aspect of it.
And I don't think she's not saying like she's trying to keep from what I got, it was not like a catty or spiteful or anything like that. Like Mariah was trying to like comfort him or anything like that. She was simply getting the legality part of it clear.
I think if you've gone through that or been a part of that, then that's what it sounds like to me. Like there has been some an agreement that was previously met. He was supposed to be there with certain times, and he was not. And so now she's like, we need to change this. Okay, KG saying that Mariah pays him child support. Well, then again, then they would have to have 50-50. Because if they have 50-50, then because
based on
he's
their
worth way more than him, then she wants to cut that off then. Because like I said, he's not fulfilling the role that he's supposed to at the time. So she's like, hey.
That makes a lot more sense. Thank you, KG. Yeah, I didn't know that.
$1 million a year in child support from Mariah.
Mm.
I mean, she's worth what, $200 million?
Oh, there's no telling. Like Mariah got long money, which is why I don't think she said a whole lot about it, and why she's moving. You know, she took this long and is moving kind of the way that she's moving about it. Like she knows that she was the first, and she ain't really worried about what he's doing. You know what I mean? But she does need to, you know.
I mean, to your point, if he's not present and this is the custody, yeah, it says
And I gotta pay him too.
Look, it's reporting that she's worth $320 million. And I looked his up earlier. He's worth $20 million. So
yeah, not even that's not even
yeah. So yeah, I think like I said, it's more so. I mean, she probably don't want to continue to pay it, but it's more so I don't want to continue to pay it if you're not showing up to get these babies like you're supposed to.
Exactly. Right, and you out here making more babies. Like, you know, like it's because you're spending time at some point, and then we're not getting the time here, and this is just not getting any better. So yeah.
All right, we're gonna keep an eye on that one. We're gonna keep an eye on young Nicholas. All right, what else do we? So listen, young Nicholas got to get it together.
You kill me calling him young Nicholas.
When I hear Chico
Nicholas Cannon earlier, that made me giggle.
I heard Chico being said, I was like, I like that. I'm gonna start calling him Nicholas Cannon. I like that. This is a little more sad. This is a lot more sad. So also while we were on break, we lost one. DJ Stephen Twitch Ross reportedly committed suicide over the break while we were gone. 40 years old. We lost his young brother, and this was one obviously that you could not, even though we were on break, you obviously could not miss.
No.
We definitely are praying for his family. He left a wife and two children. Three children, and so we. Yeah, that's sad. That's a sad one.
Yeah, it was very sad. It was very sad, and it was sudden. It didn't seem like anybody really knew what was going on. His wife had seen some signs like real time types of signs, and it caused her to spring into action. But from what I understand, there was not really a whole lot prior to that would have made anyone really know that this is something that he would have done. And what was interesting to me, and it took a couple days for this to come around, because I think we were numb in a way, kind of shocked, and went into the normal way that we deal with we process these types of things. Check on your strong people. You never know people going through all of those things. And it took a couple days before people really started to really kind of push back on that simple statement of, check on your strong friends, because people had to be honest and say, like, the strong friends, you gotta pull up on, you gotta show up, you gotta push through to your strong people. You know what I mean? You have to force you onto to the strong people, because you call them in there. I'm good. I'm good. How are you? And it's a quick, easy, careful, sweet, loving, sugar wrapped deflection away from, digging deep into the thing. And I was glad to see it, but it was really something that I took notice to. And I thought to myself, as a person who considers himself one of the strong friends that, is always doing and showing up and talking, doing that emotional, thing for other people, and not really having all that. It's one of those things. I thought to myself, yeah, checking on is so much different than just to get to this level of a person.
Yep.
To be able to, checking on is just something that we say that we do so we could be like, oh, well, we just talked.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But like the it's different. And I was thankful that we finally were able to have that conversation and it wasn't attacked. and it wasn't looked at as insensitive or, you know, being hard, but it was like, really look at that statement and that sentiment behind the check, and go deeper than that.
Yeah. I think that, and I think to your point, that's it's definitely different. It's not as you know, we say that, you know, because obviously we recognize the silence and what the silence means, or excuse me, that the silence is there. And oftentimes, a strong friend is not one that's used to expressing themselves. But to your point, like it's beyond just the space to express yourself, that often that strong friend doesn't even necessarily know that they're at that space.
Yep.
That they would do that because they're used to being strong.
Mhm.
So you get to that space, and that idea that you could potentially get to this point, it's not even remotely something you're thinking. And again,
And yeah,
your point, you almost have to invade that space
Mhm.
to say, hey, something is off, something is going on. Let's talk, let's work this out. And one thing I'm learning, especially when you're dealing with men, often that's not language that we express.
right.
You don't usually hear men talking about, yeah, I think, you know what I mean? Like, we might think it, but sharing the fact that, hey, listen, I'm close to that edge. And so you really have to, like I said, invade that space, be present, have some discernment about you to see that I just need to sit here for a while, and ask the questions.
Yeah.
You know, and ask the questions, not so much as ask the questions, but ask the questions to give them a chance to think about it, and you still sit there.
And be there. Yep.
So it's a very difficult thing to do.
It's very much of what we saw happen in The Best Man, and when he was sitting there watching TV, and you know, before you know it, and here come the people. You know, that that scene was so powerful. Like,
Absolutely.
I enjoyed that series very much. And that's not on our subject right now, but that particular, you know, that particular scene, that series of how that particular relationship between those men evolved after their relationship shifted, you know, after Harper and Robin's relationship shifted the way that it did, that adjusted how all of those men related to one another from that point on.
Right.
And the way that came around to me was so good to see. It was very relatable, from what I know of the men in my life, not being a man, of course, but from knowing of how men relate around me and how difficult that can be. That was really good to see that depicted in that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a Black woman watching that on screen, it was very beautiful.
It was. Okay, no, that's not the topic.
I know, right? We should have put that on the. I guess it's making way. We should have put that on the agenda.
But nevertheless, I do think, you know, that's I am starting to see that this topic is coming up more. But we definitely have a lot more work to do in the community to talk about this, and the realization that times like now, where you're looking at financial crisis, where you're looking at those types of, you know, where culturally things are getting tighter, you start to see an increase in those types of things. So we just gotta, you know, like you said, keep not just check on your strong friends, check on everybody. Like, not just check on, again, hey, you good? No, let me come on. I'm here. I am here.
Mm-hmm.
You don't sound well. I'm on my way, you know, or just popping up just to make sure that that people are doing well. So
many prayers to
his family, to his children.
I did not know about those conspiracy theories that you just mentioned. I didn't know that it had gotten to that degree. That's kind of wild. That's crazy.
So let me say this to that. I didn't hear about the wife, but I heard one about drugs. Now, I heard that one, but I didn't hear anything about the wife.
I heard, what was it that old boy? Yeah, that what was he? The one that was drunk for a while. What is his name? Not Save the Last Day. Oh boy, the FTX stuff that was going on with the stocks that I'd heard that he had supposedly invested in that, and that could have possibly. it's all kinds of things, and we'll never. I don't know if we'll ever really know, and it's honestly none of our business. But I was just wanting to note KG's comment that I hadn't heard about that, and that would be devastating considering, you know, how we've seen that play out. I'm just praying for those babies, and he was he touched a lot of people. Seeing those tributes and things like that, and of course that's always touching when people do those tributes. People come out of woodwork, but you saw people who really, really knew him. You know, you can often tell the difference, and you know, when there's a relationship that was had, and the people who just had interactions with a person, and those were some very
right.
deep.
Keep praying. All right. So there's a
got it, KG. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, it's first I'm hearing it out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's move it on.
Yes, please. Oh Lord. Almost. Yes, please. Oh Lord.
So we finally, while we were gone, had a. First of all, let me apologize for this. This is
image. Yes.
This image, like I probably could have picked a better image.
You could have,
but it was the first one I found. So actually, it was the only one that had the actual headline that I was looking for. So Tory Lanez found guilty of shooting Meg Thee Stallion in the foot. Was it the foot?
Yep.
In the foot. That happened in 2020. So he was found guilty of 3 different charges related to it. And again, it happened in July 2020. So yeah. This one has been interesting because his people been
wilding.
They
wilding.
Like, and I'll be honest, this is one that, like, besides what actually happened, I looked at the case a little bit, so I don't know how strong the case was, but just listening to like the response of his dad, you would think like there was no evidence or anything that led to this. You know what I mean? I was like, from what he's saying, I'm like, well, didn't they say this in the courtroom? So if they said that, how did they still find him guilty? What am I missing? Because I couldn't figure out. That's the part I couldn't figure out. Like, what is not being said that we're not hearing that has this man thinking this? Or is it just, I know my son didn't do it type of response? So I don't know. Maybe again,
I just know I'm just saying crazy-ish because
yeah, absolutely.
Let us not forget option C. You acted like it could just have been one of the two.
I'm just saying.
No.
I mean, that man gave like a whole soliloquy outside.
Came out. Yeah.
Like, okay, what was he just not in the room? What did we miss? But yeah, I mean,
it's like he was following the case online instead of the courtroom like the rest of us. It was like you didn't get the actual facts and details that they gave in the room. You were getting TMZ updates, Shade Room. Is that where you were getting Twitter? Is that the tweets? Is that what's how you was getting your updates and your child? Listen. It was quite interesting to me, especially after the actual trial got started, how all of the stuff, just the back and forth of it all was very interesting. But honestly, I've always thought this, I always thought that it should have ended up this way. I did not always think that it was going to, though, because so much of this played out in front of us for so long between the music and the trolling and the back and forth, her music, his music, and the gag, all of the, we talked about it way more than anybody else did, as far as the public is concerned. Like the public talked about it way more, which is usually how it should go when there's an actual pending trial. But then after the trial even got going, we just literally abandoned any understanding of like this is a law trial was going on. Like we got real flexy on how we worded how definitions works and laws work. Like all things got real fuzzy. And
Because then, like, the bodyguard or somebody disappeared who was supposed to testify,
and then when he showed up and said what he had to say, then it was like, okay, jury's going out to deliberate, and we're done. Like, and that was,
they delivered. They would deliberate like 6 hours, wasn't it? Wasn't
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was.
But so whatever he said was like the end game of all of this. Like, that was the thing they were waiting on. They had to finish whatever information that he had. You know, they had to, and that's also when I think we learned of the text message that was sent within like 5 minutes of it all happening and all that. They basically
sealed the deal.
Sealed everything. And I thought to myself, what kind of damn police work was done? How did we even get to this point with that being something that was like something that they knew? I just didn't understand how they even got to this level.
Yeah, because his team would have known that these text messages were going to be entered into evidence. So I wonder if they like attempted to cut a deal or there was no deal. And I don't even, you know what, I'm gonna tell you how. So like at one point I thought she said she didn't want to press charges.
She did.
And
she
they
did.
said, and the
attempted, she tried to defend, she tried to like shield him at first. Yes.
And then
it was right after George Floyd and all that going on. She didn't want another black man to go to die by saying
he just said, nah, we charge.
We got it. Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. I wanted to make sure I wasn't missing that. KG said appeals are going to be interesting. I'm just it's definitely going to be interesting because he's
possibly facing up to 22 years, I believe it is. Something like that. It's a good amount of time. Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
That's why his daddy was showing out on them steps. And I mean, you know, but he also has a history of being extremely violent. Him and I believe and his daddy. Like Tory's violent. Like he's got other things with other people that he's been in scuffles and stuff like that. So like
this about to sound real mean, and please don't. Hey, you little guy.
He is. Okay. I mean, that's true. He is a small person. Yes.
Okay. Like little guy in terms, like, you know, like why you like she's bigger than him. Okay, I was just making sure I was like that optic. Not that smaller men can't. I'm not. I was just making sure
that was also a lot of the reason why people were acting like she was lying this whole time was because she was so much bigger than he is. How could she allow this little to shoot her? How could she? She could have just bopped like yes. I'm telling you.
They were dating, right? But he was trying.
They had relations. It's come out that they had sex, but I don't think they had a whole.
They weren't together.
Relationship going on. Yeah, they had and that's why supposedly Kelsey was upset, and they had a triangle type of situation happening that they all discovered was a triangle the night that all this happened. Okay. Oh yeah, it was a lot that went into.
See, my mind was thinking he was trying to be with her and she wasn't, and that's how. But okay,
yeah. There was a lot of escalatory details that they could have got emotions high, but at the same time, none of them really called for guns being pulled. Like,
but I mean, but that's why I asked about the size, because I'm thinking he's a little guy. Okay.
But a gun is a gun is a gun.
So, why are you pulling the gun on a woman? But period. But definitely on.
Right.
Anyway, he was gonna Kylie Jenner.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They were at a party at her house. They were at a little hangout. I can't call it a party. It was like maybe 10 people. So like it really wasn't a party. It was like a kickback.
That would be a small kickback.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell you what.
I'm glad it's over. I'm with you, KG, though. I'm glad that part.
And we don't need any more divisive stuff. Like we need to let it marinate for we need some unity stuff happening for a little bit.
Seriously. Yeah. That got blown. So we had other rappers talking about it, trolling about it, making song. It was a lot. It got way, way, way out of hand for the only to be like 5 people on scene. The 3 of them and maybe a bodyguard and a driver. You know what I mean? Like those are really the people who knew what was going on. And there was a whole lot of additional conversation and speculation about that I just thought was kind of real trash.
Yeah.
Real trash. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that part is over. I hope she is disconnected as hell right now and
Yeah.
resting and getting loved on and chilling. That's what I hope is happening.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's keep it moving.
Agreed, KG.
Yeah, I agree with you there, KJ. He says
Mhm.
people don't understand what assault means legally either. That's true. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Yeah, this was, I don't know if a lot of people know about this one, but Andrew Tate. Tate, excuse me, was arrested in Romania on rape and human trafficking charges. This was, yeah, a couple days ago, January 6th. This one has, and then I think since then he has appealed and lost and asked to be released because of the health of his children and lost, and now they seized his car and yeah.
Got supposedly like 38 of them or something. What's one if you got?
They seized his expensive car for legal fees, and I'm like, oh. So and now they said I read one article talking about some. He's asking for special treatment because he's a Muslim or I don't something, just all kind of stuff going on around this. Yeah. And of course, there's other people, like I've listened to some people who are like, this is a conspiracy because he is exposing the governments and he's waking people up to how they're being used. And I'm like,
That's a cringe emoji.
Like we, I'm gonna say this. I'm not saying he did it. I don't know he did or did, but I'll say this: if we like somebody, we make up anything to give them a pass instead of just being like, man, I like dude, but he bogus for this. Like, wrong. Like, you can say that. Like, that's wrong. Like, yeah, he makes some good points, but he's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, you can say that. I don't know if he did or didn't. I'm just saying. But it's always amazing to me that, so when there's somebody, and I think it should be for everybody. Like, I think we could make opinions and look at the evidence and be like, and judge the evidence. We do that all the time.
Yeah.
But when it's somebody you like, yeah,
it gets
pretty weird.
Yeah.
It can be borderline weird.
Mm-hmm.
So
the comments threads that you see on these types of personalities, when things like this happen with them, the level of defense and the energy that goes into seeking out these threads to discuss it and to defend it. I've seen, it's so funny doing research, a little research, because y'all know I have a very small amount of energy for this type of shit. But like in doing my research for this, there's a lot of times I would see like the same people in this thread and that thread and this thread and that, like literally saying the same things and going in, like having real back and forth debate, saying these same things with people. Like there, it's definitely, if I've learned nothing from Kevin Samuels and those who have come after him, it is that there is definitely a target for this genre of talk. It is definitely igniting something. And yeah, I don't really know what that is, how to really handle it, because it's almost like that frustration point that you had when we were going back and forth with Trump, and like you cannot ignore what is happening with this group of people, you know what I mean, and how it is affecting the rest of the way that we interact, and whether it be the full engagement and this is how I believe and how I live and how I move now, or even just the bits and pieces that might strike chords and then that latch, like it is affecting and it's interesting, and I've yet to really identify how to engage with that.
I just don't think that we have. I think a lot of us don't show the dexterity to be able to hold two things at the same time. To be able to hold that a bad person can say something good. And I think we can't do that, especially if it's this if we realize like the good thing that they're saying is something that we want to become
valid for us.
The culture, a cultural norm.
Yeah.
So in both this case, in both the Kevin Samuels and other places, I mean, we did it with Derek Jackson. We did it like all of these. Like we just do it. We
There's
do
another guy that I saw that's getting the comparisons that's happening now. It's quite a few of them that have been popping up that are like taking Derek's place supposedly now. So
yeah. I mean, we could say again, we never can. It's very seldom that we see people able to say this is bad, this is good, or this is good, but this is bad for like there's very much so nuances to this that sometimes we don't want to think about, or what he's saying in this instance is true, but this is not good for the culture as a whole to accept this thought or this idea. So I've heard one person that I know that is like pro him, one person that's popular, who was like, look, he says some good stuff, but if he did it, he need to go to jail. I'm like, I respect that. Like,
yeah.
He can go to jail. He needs to go to jail. Like, we can't have that. And that's, to me, that's the reality. Like, you can't do it. Period. Sex trafficking, not gonna work. If that's what you're doing.
And to me, I will go even a little bit further. Like, that's not an unrelated. If it comes out that is something that there's proof, it's what he's done, and he is eventually held legally accountable for it. That's not something completely separate from what he's been known for. Like, as far as what he's famous for, what he's out here getting the spins and the support for. That charge is directly related to the things that he said. So if that ends up being the case, I think there really has to be, there needs to be some introspection from all those folks who are going so hard and so deep to know that those things are linked.
Yeah,
that super go hard, that this is how it is.
Yeah,
you can't just come out and say that that's my end game because it gets you ending in jail. Like, so you can't say that. So if that ends up being, and I'm saying if alleged, all those things, but there has to be, if not, then that's where I'm gonna have to like bow out. That's a choice being made to just
no, but there's not. It's the recognition of. I used to always hate my mother for doing this. My mother always had this thing where when we talked about certain topics, she always, what's up, Kyle? She always does if we start here, it's going to automatically lead to, and I'm like, but we can't always do that.
Always do that.
Always do that. But in this instance, like, we do have to think through that as, like you're saying, we have to think through that as if we start here and this is not controlled or done in a good manner or thought through, and we're just reacting and doing, then this can absolutely lead to that. So I think we do have to. There's a level of maturity that we need to use as we're thinking through.
Is this
what
really
we're listening to?
The wave I need to be on? If that could possibly be here. You know what I mean? It's not saying that everyone who agrees with that is going to be out here raping and holding chicks hostage. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there is a different level of understanding and disconnect that happens with that level of thinking, and it doesn't really mesh so well with right now. What's happening. So you
gotta be able to separate.
Yes.
Good. Very good. What's the word I want to say? Not point, but whatever. Good point. We're gonna
You
go.
gotta find what you might connect with that.
I'm
And
trying to say like that's a good nuance. That's the word I'm looking for. There's a very good nuance to that thought. That was the word I was trying to reach for.
Because that's what I was thinking when I saw that. Because like Kevin Samuels, okay, cool. Like whatever happened, you know, we've had extensive conversations about that, but like it didn't get to this degree. The worst that Kevin Samuels had, he pissed some people off and had some divorces. You know what I mean? Like, but this is different. You know what I mean? And I've had some engagement with some of the content. I'm not a viewer in any capacity, but I've had some engagement with the content, and I've found myself more irritated, I think, because it's presented in such an intellectual type, you know, factual, you know, there was a level of gotcha that I understood, that there was a level of entertainment that was coming with it when I saw it from, you know, Kevin when he was doing what he does. But this person presents very, you know, this is what, and then that's his demeanor, you know, it's, I've got to be the, you know, I know it, but I think that also is, yes, it's very, but I don't, there were some men who didn't really believe, you know, that the alpha wasn't really what Kevin was for some, but this guy really does present in that masculine, strong, I'm the guy you want to follow, I'm the leader of the, you know, and I could see that very much resonating even with the subset of men that Kevin didn't touch. And that kind of tuned me in. So when these charges showed up, I was like,
yeah,
could be a little different and deeper than, you know, yeah. And those comment sections have been scary, flat out scary. As a woman reading those comment sections have been scary. Hearing that dog pile in the way that there's, you know, even if it's this many, you know, in comparison, this many is a lot of minis when it comes to how we engage out here. You know, it's interesting.
It's a lot.
So I'm watching this one kind of with one eye, like what's gonna
happen.
happen.
Me too. I'm interested to see what happens too. Yeah. I mean, if it's one of them things where like all of a sudden all the charges just disappear and it's like, then you're like, oh, so maybe it
is something to it, right? Why are you messing with this man? Because I don't like messing with people just to mess with people. Like I might not like what you got to say, but leave folks alone and let them say they like what. So I'm not. Yeah.
So but if it comes out, then that's a totally different. That's gonna be totally different. All right, let's keep it moving. We saw this one I didn't expect. I did not expect to see this one in the news. So over the break, Lil Romeo.
Lil
Romeo.
So you see, still a child. Do you?
Lil Romeo, when you get to talking like this, Lil Romeo came out and lambasted, is the word I'm going to use, his father, Master P, alluding to, no, he didn't allude, he said he don't care about him. He basically used him. He's talked about, you know, all the stuff he was doing and he didn't get paid for him. He paid other people, but never paid me. All he cares about is his public image. He don't care about his family. Mom was right. Like he talked bad about his dad. You know, his dad never did nothing for him, and yeah, I don't know.
He said his dad never did nothing for him.
He said he might have, like, he never paid him. Like he did all of this stuff, but he never paid him anything like that. So okay,
because that's different.
He said he never did anything for him financially. Financially, he didn't do things for him. He was talking about like he didn't give people thought I was doing this. He didn't give me money like that. That's what Thank you for clearing that. So thoughts.
I one was saddened that this was something that we had to see. Although I understood why we ended up seeing it. So from what I understand, Romeo spoke out after Master P spoke out in this heartfelt outpouring for Twitch after his passing. And Romeo felt some type of way about the energy that P was putting behind Twitch's passing when he didn't feel that P did that same thing for his sister and P's daughter who lost her life, who lost her life. I don't think she lost her life. I think it was drug related though.
Mm-hmm.
Years later, something to that. Yeah, I believe it was something like that. Yeah, but P didn't come out the same way with that same energy that he did for Twitch, and that bothered Romeo in a very real way. So he went to social media and posted his poem, I believe, that was really a very clear statement of how he felt about his upbringing and P as a father, not as the community leader or the leader of No Limit or the get it out the mud man that we know, but as the father of those children and the husband, that he saw in that home. That's what I heard. And the business interfered with the parenting in the family. And that is what I heard being called out in that. And I had a better understanding when I read through that. I got it. And yeah, I got it. I got it because he was a child star. He did have a life that was different and one that we all idolized, because he got the house, and the birthday and the car before he could drive and like all of those things. But throughout the years, we also have learned how much of that was very much just for when MTV Crib showed up and when the cameras showed up and like all that shit rolled off when they rolled off type of thing. Right. We really don't know what that looked like for him, for them.
He said he had an 8:30 curfew.
See? And there have been other No Limit artists, and specifically those who have been familially connected to P, who have come out over the years that have said similar things to this. Mm-hmm. So like it blew my mind how everyone like acted like Romeo could have been so like if everybody else got it, why was it so far-fetched that Romeo might have had a similar story being his actual child? I think he would have been the one that could have gotten it more so because little boy, I made you, like all of this is for you, like you know what I mean? Like I could see that dynamic.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that's the black. Yeah, I think the reason why we got that was because I think most people think you wouldn't have even had any of this opportunity without him, and so to your I think it was like like you said before, like this wasn't the place to do it. Type of response because
he's also said that he tried to contact he's tried to have these conversations with him in private and his dad has shut him down. And he went to the place where he knew he would get the response, his beloved social media, because he had shut him down in private. So
he knew what he was doing. He absolutely knew what he was doing.
And did he not get his results?
He got the response that he wants, and then he got
his check.
And turned around and put up a post talking about some we cool now and
we done talked, we done dapped it down and
I don't know moving forward how that's going to benefit, how that's going to work for him, but
I don't think Romeo wants to do any of that anymore. We ain't seen Romeo really out here in people's faces like that. Romeo's kind of been ducked off doing his own thing.
He was on
that was a couple years ago, like on them reality TV.
Was that a couple years ago?
Yeah, it was a couple years ago. Romeo kind of ducked off. I believe not long after his sister passed away. He kind of that grounded him in a different way. I think he's kind of been out the way a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if he really wants to be Romeo like that the same way. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know if he want to be a rapper, but I don't know. we'll see.
I
But
definitely know he wants to get a check for whatever he shows up as.
Yeah, I think that he
Like,
which he should if he's working. I mean, if you
he's
do the
made
job,
that real clear,
pay the man.
as he
Yeah, pay the
should.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, pay the man. I don't have an issue with paying the man. I think obviously as someone who has I would say probably is not similar, but a healthy relationship with my father. And who I can imagine trying to have a conversation. Now, my father's not like this, but I can imagine, but he's absolutely was a very, I don't call him strict, but disciplinarian. I am the father, you are the son, know your place type of parent. And to me, when I listen to Romeo talk about P, I get a similar vibe. Now, I cannot imagine going to talk to I can imagine, because there was a period of time where he and I couldn't talk like that. And then as we worked through it, which took a long time, it took it took a period of time where I don't think we talked for a year at one point, like for us to be able to then get to a space of, okay, I have to start moving different with you. And so now I can't treat you like a child anymore. You're a grown man. So now that you're a grown man, I realize I have to respect you as a grown man. And that brought us to a place of having to retrace some conversations and walk through how those affected. And there was some apologies, and there was some, it was a whole lot. And so so I can't imagine like the position that Romeo was in to have those conversations. And again, I don't know what the time frame was, but to not be heard by your father. What I could imagine is if it happened, or like the period when it kind of happened for me, like I just didn't talk to you, but there was no check involved. So I wasn't owed any money that affected my livelihood. It just affected the relationship, which is worse in my opinion, but it just affected our relationship to where we weren't communicating. We weren't, anything like that. So
I think also another level of this was the fact that there is such a stark difference in what people see him as far as what he's saying he is. If people found it hard to believe, and like I said earlier, like almost like literally forgot that other people had said similar things about him in the midst of all the No Limit, when they were really at the height of their, like, those that had happened. Like that was a part of why everything kind of did what it did. Like everyone is thankful for what they learned and the opportunities, and when it was good, everything was great. We was out here getting it, but that was all happening with the understanding that there was going to be a reciprocation for the work done. You know what I mean? And then when that did not happen, now all of a sudden we have a problem, as they should have had. So I think Romeo at this age now is also like, listen, I'm watching this happen, and that's not what it is. And I have all of this other stuff on top of what's going on. So this persona of you, these people, got you thinking that all of what I'm feeling is null and void. And I was here and I lived this. And that I can imagine that gets harder to just be quiet and wait for Christmas to come around when we all together in private to talk about it. Especially if you've attempted to do that when everybody is, and here he is trending again, and we resharing it again, and and all of it. Because I don't know.
I just said, I think the other part of me though is, again, the part that I struggle with is again as a father, seeing that was the part that bothered me, that hurt, because I think so much of, from a cultural standpoint, you think through is, man, this, you want to see fathers loving their sons well. And so we all are under the impression that he's loving his son well. And so it's like, man, okay. So I think it goes back to, again, what we said with Andrew Tate, of this idea of we don't really want to believe what's happening because we really like the person.
And what we've seen
So
him do
when we
for all these
see,
other.
well, I don't even know if it's what we see for all the others, but I think it's more we like the person and we like him because of what, in part because of what we've seen and because he shared the knowledge and because he put us on to the music, like all of that. So it's hard to then disassociate that with, but he could have been a crappy dad. He could have, he could have not paid his son. So I think again, it's hard to see, but you have to kind of, let's say let the record be what the record is. And when you come with facts, this is what it is. And again, from the response, it looks like, they worked out whatever they needed to work out. And hopefully, again, they on the
They
path
continue to build from it.
to building. And again, and my hope would be just like you showed us the mistakes you made and how you recovered and built from it in the music industry, do the same thing here as a father. Like, fathers are not expected.
He's not the only one who's ever done
Fathers are
it.
not expected to get it right all the time.
Exactly.
So be like, hey, yeah, I screwed that up. I had to take care of my business. My son put me on, and you know what? He's right. So fathers, like, don't make my mistake. Just do
better.
Do better. And I'm doing better too in the future. We good. So
KG, I don't want to act like I'm, I don't want you to think we're ignoring your comments here. I think I hear what you're saying, but I think as a son, all that sounds like what an agent is going to say. I don't think that Romeo's real issue was ever the money. But at the end of the day, if there was a check that came for Romeo for whatever, if it was 10 CDs, if it was 10 bags of chips, whatever it was, if he was supposed to receive funds for that work, because if he was also managing Romeo, there was a percentage of that was going to him anyway. So like, why couldn't Romeo get whatever that was supposed to be for him? I don't think he was asking for anything additional or anything absorbent or anything like that. And I think that he was cool with whatever it was that P sent him because that was what he was owed. But if I, as a child, were to come to my parent and say, this is my beef, and I also was not paid for the work I was doing as a child instead of off being a child, because I do not think, although we saw it looking fun and great, that was a really fun and great experience for Romeo all the time. That's we've seen the behind the scenes of what those kids go through at that age. That is rough on those kids. Hella fun, hella rough. And he should have gotten what he was owed for that. And if my dad was to hit me with what you just said in these comments, that would not help Pops. Like, that would not be the flex that he would think it would be, coming to me as your child, that telling me about how basically I was the failure and I owe you because I failed at being this child star that I'm positive damn near that he was supposed to be the hood answer to Bow Wow. And it didn't work the way that it was supposed to. So I don't know how much of that was Romeo and how much of that could have even been P. We'll never know till the VH1 behind the scenes special comes out. This could have been a very hood version of the Jacksons happening right here. Like, we don't know. I'm not so, and I like Master P, but I'm not so caught up in the tank to think that there could not have been a lot of that happening, because he brought everybody with him. It was 50 ninjas that got out of that tank on the court. Like, are you kidding me? Everybody within a 50-mile radius of wherever they was at was on No Limit. So, like, I can understand there was a lot. I would not be surprised if there was a lot of, it was more militarial feeling than ever around that place, because he was the one who made it happen for all of them. So I know there was a lot of loyalty conversations, a lot of, get down, because this is all about the family, and you putting it like, hey, these folks grown now. They ain't kids no more. And, I'm glad they worked it out. I'll say that. I'm glad they worked it out, or are working it out. And they took us out of the group chat for a minute. I appreciate it.
And listen, I'm glad. I hope that they don't have to get to the point where they need to come back to the social media.
Yeah, I don't want to.
I'm gonna go back to what we said about Tory Lanez and Megan. We don't need no more device. We don't need, just like we don't need more black men, black women division. We don't need no father, son, other daughters.
I think this situation is the one that made me come out of my quiet space during the break. I had to, because I was reading through the comment, and not so much even about, like, I didn't really have much to say about P and Romeo because, again, we don't know, and it was very fresh at that time. But I just was reading through the comments and thought to myself, we really can confuse success with how we really love each other, like, and what it looks like to, like, we will totally erase and forget what loving someone well and doing right by somebody and taking care of someone and you know, all of that we know and would never allow to not be for us or our own completely gets erased when there's a certain dollar amount or fame attached to that sacrifice. And when the people who have benefited from that money, that fame, that whatever that we don't have access to, we come for them as though, how dare you, because you had all of those things, when they say, but I didn't really, that ain't really the flex that y'all think it is. Like, that didn't make me feel loved. That didn't warm me up. Like, that was all nice, but I hated that. I was miserable during that time. I wanted to do away with me during that time. Like, you saw this, but that's not what that is. And oh, you whiny. Oh, if you only, like,
that's because we have associated money with solution, with happiness. So we think as long as you got money, just shut up. You got money. We got broke people problems. You ain't got
exactly. And these are still people. You know what I mean? They're people attached to these things. And that when they tell you, yeah, I'm if we don't know, they like trying to be the whole incognito and the sunglasses and the shades, and I'm coming looking like somebody completely different. Like, they're trying to get away from that so they could just be regular. Like, in a lot of ways. And I think the more we see our idols fall, sadly, I hate to hear that it's taking that for us to kind of be like, wait, hold on. You know, how many of our strong friends, how many of our the pages that we go to give our picker-uppers, when those start falling down, like, when we gonna figure it out? Okay, well, maybe the followers ain't the thing that I'm missing. Like, maybe they had hella followers, like, and hella dollars and hella all the things I don't have. And like, I don't know why we're missing that. We're all missing the same thing. Like, I don't get it. But that's what I took from that situation, from the P and Romeo thing, more than anything. That was my social observation about how we reacted to that. Took me back more than anything. I had a feeling they was going to work that out. I was like, but we though, are we going to work that out? Like, we've got some work to do on this. They work through it much faster than we're going to be able to work through it, you know, much faster.
And we still working it out. I think really what at the end of the day, what a lot of it, what I saw was a lot of trauma, like trauma in terms of like, oh, you're living your issues with your, okay, that's your issue with your daddy. That's what that is. Okay, got it. Okay, got it. So, yeah. All right, let's move on.
Let's do.
Brittany's home.
Yes.
Brittany is home.
Right before Christmas.
Brittany's home. Yes, right before Christmas. Our favorite WNBA player, Brittany Griner, was released and is at home. And I'm happy about that.
Yes.
So of course it was, for those who know, of course it was very controversial because of who she was released for, prisoner exchange for. So that was really the controversy in all of this was we exchanged her for a weapons dealer, arms dealer. And so there was a lot of debate about whether or not she should or should not. And then obviously there's other people who are, POWs but she's home. She's home, and I'm glad about it. I'm absolutely glad about it. So there's of course now a new controversy, but we're not going to get into that. There's new controversy surrounding her, but that's just politicians, politics.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, she's home. She's home. She's what's the word I want to use? Trying to re-immerse herself back into life, and I'm sure it's not easy.
No,
but yeah, but she's home, and I'm glad about
it. I'm extremely happy that she was able to make it home. That I was terrified at the thought of her being over there in that camp for 9 years. That was crazy scary for many reasons, but it was just too much. So I was glad that she was able to come home. But it was not lost on me that it was wrapped in controversy. But I do not think that controversy is something that is hers to like fully, like she couldn't have it. She didn't have anything to do with that decision, or not. Honestly, neither did Biden. Like I think it was confusing to me how we thought there was a conversation and a real debate or discussion had between these two leaders of who was going to come and for under what circumstances. Like there was a choice. No, keep her. We'd rather him. Like that wasn't ever.
It wasn't a debate.
The debate, yeah. So I think that again is kind of like some of the things we were talking about earlier, how we really don't fully understand what's happening, and we, go off onto these tangents and how come? Because that's not how it works. That's how come. That's just, it doesn't work that way. And it was a take what you can get or leave it all.
This is what it is, and this is what it's not. What you gonna do? Yes or no? Yes or no?
They was doing the Diddy gift where Homie and Diddy was looking back at each other, and what do you do? So I'm glad that he made the decision that he made, because the alternative would have just been unnecessary, because they weren't gonna send old boy home. That was never an option. They played in our faces that even the I don't know who brought that up. Like, who thought we was going to add him into it or whatever. But like that, I don't know where that came from. But we took that and ran with it, and it made them a package. And I don't think that was ever going to be a package. She was over there at the wrong time. All of this timing was terrible, and she was absolutely a pawn in the back and forth that's going on. He got what he was able to manipulate a little bit because of what was going on and our role that we're playing in some of these other political things. Mm-hmm. But she did not need to be over there for no 9 damn years, going through what she was going through behind this.
Behind vape pen.
Yeah. I'm glad she's home. She needed to come home. And I'm happy she's home.
Yep.
I don't really have much else to do.
I got nothing to say about
that. Because like I remember when it happened, and I posted that like I'll talk about all that other later, but like I'm not. Like I just, after I figured out what was going on, I really read, really like got the facts of it and got through the, like I'm really not though. She needed to come home. It was time for her to come home. And I think y'all know I love me some Demetria Lucas, but the podcast she did right after Brittany came home, one had me in tears, and two summed up everything that I felt as someone who's watched that play out as a Black woman, as a Black person. So no, I won't be. This is the extent of my conversation about Brittany Griner coming home. There won't be other debates or things that I'm going to engage in about it.
I'm like, look.
I know. I wasn't saying, I'm just putting that on the record. Like, if ever there was a record, this here is it. Like,
let the record show.
I ain't doing it. Yeah, I ain't doing it.
Yeah, nah.
I'm cool. I'm glad sis is home.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Last but definitely not least.
This image. Yeah.
Oh, Derrick Jackson. Relationship guru Derrick Jackson and his wife are getting a divorce.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the story.
After he was out He was captured out gallivanting.
So he had like
A
with
hot girl.
another woman,
That-
right?
Huh?
He was out with another woman, right?
Uh-huh. That does not look like his wife. Like look like polar opposites.
Really?
She's a hot girl. She had the weave with the baby hair and the nails and the midriff and the chi-chis out and all of that.
But what did he say?
Oh, I mean, after they were,
He said they were separated at this point. What if I read
yeah,
it?
he said it was separate. They were separated and had been, and you know, please pray for us during this time and all
Pray
that.
for you? What you mean? You separate.
He asked us to pray for him on the couch too.
Right. That's what I'm saying. What are we praying? But you already with another
Child,
woman.
we ain't praying for him.
What are we
Ain't
praying
nobody praying
for?
for that man. Ain't nobody praying for that man.
I mean, I'm not saying we can't pray for, but I mean, like, you got to like pray for what? Restoration of your marriage? Like, what are we praying for, sir? I need you to make it plain for me, please. What you want me to do?
Yeah.
So,
but
I mean,
we were wondering if she knew that they were separated because, like, a week or two before that, she had gone viral for hexing all those. She had went live and was putting hexes on everyone who had gone, who was speaking ill on their marriage. And
was she?
She was.
I missed all of that.
She had gone in and was doing the whole Color Purple low key, like telling the people that all those who are speaking ill against us and like called their names, you know, denied Jackson and Derek. Like she was doing the whole thing, like a week or so before this happened. So when this happened, when he comes out, because Tasha K, I believe, is the gossip chick, the Cardi B, you know, Tasha K.
That she sued.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's the one, I believe, who broke this story. I could be wrong, but I believe she's the one who loosed the pictures. And then he had to come out real fast with the whole separation proclamation, and everybody was like, so y'all separated like within the last 6 days?
And you got another girl? And you already on with another girl?
I mean, honey, they was out popping, they was pinkies up.
I got to find this. And
yeah.
Is it on this Instagram?
Probably not now. Somewhere, somebody got it out there. Derek Jackson and new chick. Google it. That's your keywords right there. Derek Jackson and new chick. But yeah. So this was not surprising. No. I'm one of those that if it's too much in one direction, either or, I'm side-eyeing it.
But I mean, we've been saying
too much for us.
We've been saying that though.
Yeah, and I don't, you know, so it's sometimes I would agree with some of the things that he would say, and sometimes I'd be like, no, bro, that's a little bit too much, like even for us, you know what I mean? And that's just having a critical thinking aspect to me, you know what I mean? A little bit of discernment of that's not real life, you know what I mean? Like that's just
it's
so
yeah, it's not real life, and it's not. It's like anyway. Keep going.
Yeah, no, it's interesting how we can be so smart and we keep falling for these extreme versions of stupid. You know what I mean? Like this is entertainment.
No.
When it's either side and there's no understanding of anything in the middle, there is so much extreme that it is all. When you find yourself extracting more than you're getting, why are you here? There's something that you can find that's got a little more weight on it. If you have to trim so much excess before you can get to something worth holding on to, why are we there? And I feel that way about Jackson. I felt that way about all of them in that lot. And there are some women who fall into this category as well. There are some hardcore pandering women that go from one extreme to the other, and some of them hate men, want nothing to do with them. Everything they did after the time their mama sent them off to, out the room is just trash. And then there's some women, man can't do no wrong. We are just graced to be in his presence. What can I do for you, my king?
Listen,
my God. Like, girl, like my whole existence is to just live for everything that he could do. I'm just so grateful.
So for y'all, let me tell y'all. So what y'all just missed that Q just did. We have a conversation, and I know who she's talking about. and you just slipped into her voice and didn't even.
Did I don't even watch like that, did I?
You slipped. That's supposed to stop.
I didn't even.
You
My
slipped
bad.
into the voice. I was like,
Hey, that was the spirit that just fell across me at that point because I ain't watched not 30 seconds of nothing that that's been shared from that.
you slipped into the voice. I was like,
So I wouldn't know. But I mean, if the voice or shoe fits, I said what I said. Okay. And I meant that. All right. I can't. I can't. And I'm not gonna, I done came down on women the same way I done talked to the bros. Like if we do some stupid stuff, it's stupid. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. And I think, we need more of that. And I'm not always right. I'm never, ever, ever gonna sit up here and just be like, what I said is just gospel. I'm willing to talk about it. But there's a lot of folks that ain't. And we doing a whole lot of pom-pomming for folks that have no room for discussion. And
because the problem is, like I said, it's not about the discussion. It's about wanting to be heard.
Yeah.
And it's about trying to make sure that what I want to say, or what I was like, even with brother Samuels, it was I couldn't say this, or I couldn't get the platform to say this and have people listen to me. So I'm glad somebody else can, and I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to sit here and support it. Right. Forget the fact of how damaging. Again, this is year 10. We've been saying this for almost 10 years, that a lot of this stuff, okay, this might be the right thing, but this is damaging for a relationship. You can't enter into a relationship like this you can't be in a relationship and expect to play the power dynamic game. Like you can't be in a relationship with somebody and want it to work and be trying to consistently manipulate them and trying to, like, we've been saying this stuff. And every time somebody comes along and it's like,
because this ain't the first round of them. It's just it seems like it's gotten louder. But this is not the first time that this has happened. Like, we would not have a show if these types of people would not exist. There's so much content that we've had to
debrief,
and redirect and make it more realistic over a year. It's in a way, it's like thanks, but at the same time, no thanks, because we'd much rather talk about bettering something else other than this surface level.
It's damaging.
Silliness, right?
Damaging.
Yes.
So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all we got. Good show.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna have to work. We gotta have to work a best man debriefing here at some point.
I think we should do that next week. Maybe we do that next week. Maybe we talk about it.
Because there was a lot of character conversations that I've engaged in. Not engaged, but I've witnessed since the debut. I binged it all in a day, like all of it.
Me too.
Top to bottom. Loved it. We'll probably watch it again. I loved it.
Yeah, me too. It was good. A whole lot of good to see Vanessa Williams. It was good. So
good to see everybody.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, like, I didn't expect her.
Oh yeah.
That's why. Okay. So good show. Final thoughts.
I'm glad we're back, y'all. I missed y'all.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Back here.
Yeah, I agree.
I know y'all took a break. My inbox was quiet, and my tags were minimal, and I appreciate that. But we're back now. So tag us back in, slide back in those DMs and let us know what you have been chatting through, talking about. What have you been thinking about over the last couple of weeks that you want us to talk about? We've got some flexibility in our formatting on this go around we've been talking about. So let us know what you want us to talk about. Some of these topics, we like to dig. We're not going to sensationalize and do all that extra. You can come here and we can have some real honest conversation, and ask those questions, have that dialogue about what we're dealing with. What doesn't have to be relationships. That's just that's our sweet spot. But Let's talk. We've been through a lot. It's obvious there's a lot of ish here, and we would love to be an outlet for that. We would love very much this year to be able to get into some of the more intimate, internal digging deeper into what it is we're going through. We're a community, we're a tribe, we're fam.
Let's do
Let's
it.
talk, y'all.
Let's do it. All right, y'all. I ain't got nothing. I have nothing. My final thoughts are.
I'm tired.
My thoughts are very. So I think that we should really. I hope that you enjoyed your new year. I hope that whatever goals that you have set, that you are putting the right disciplines in place. Because if not, they're not going to happen. So, yeah. I hope I want well for everybody this year. I want us to do well. I want us to dig. Like I am looking forward to us digging deeper this year.
Yep.
And like you said, not just do the surface topics and stuff like that. Because I think it's time for us to help move the conversation another step forward. So
We are not regular. So it's time to go deep. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So,
We're gonna
I appreciate you as always.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I say, we in this thing.
Welcome back, bro.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. And as you can see, also, if you haven't figured it out yet, we are playing with the time, and we're not necessarily holding to the 2-hour thing. So you need to be here from the beginning, because if we ain't got 2 hours of content, we're not going 2 hours. We're gonna go with whatever the content is. So y'all make sure y'all are here on time every week.
And if not, lock in for them replays. One or the other. Don't hit us
Absolutely.
at 9:40. Where y'all at?
In the bed.
In the bed.
We're done. Which I will be in about 8 minutes.
Okay. Say it. Okay. I love y'all.
Love y'all. Y'all have a good night. We'll see y'all later.